everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Small Church Musicians Podcast. My name is Justin. I'm your host, and I'm a small church musician. I'm on a journey to find the best sounding equipment for my budget and to talk about the songs and artists that God has used to make me who I am. This has been a while coming, hasn't it? We haven't had a new episode since May 21st of 2024 this year. And that episode, we talked about amp emulators and worship music, so we haven't really done anything in a long time. And I'm excited to be back with you all. I'm so glad to be here, and there's a lot to talk about on this episode. I want to bring you all up to speed on where I've been, what's been going on with the show, what's going to be going on with the show moving forward, and I have some new gear I want to talk briefly about. So this is really an update episode, but I'm excited to be here with you all, and I've got a lot to talk about today. Before I go any farther, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share the episode for more content like this. I've got a lot to talk about, so let's dive in. The first thing I need to talk about is where the heck have I been? Why haven't there been any new episodes? And why haven't I been talking about any of the great new songs that have come out or the amazing summer worship nights that Phil Wickham and Brandon Lake have been doing? Why haven't I talked about any of this on social media or anything? And there's two answers. The short story is my job got crazy. We hit our busy season, and I was feeling so burnt out, I just had to stop. The long story is that I did indeed take on a new job within my job, and we had some serious staffing problems. People didn't want to work, people didn't come in, and I stepped up to help out wherever I could. And then we hit our busiest time of the year, and it just did not stop until now, September 2nd. I felt so burnt out, I needed to stop doing the podcast just to focus on leading worship, focus on my job, and focus on trying to sleep through the night like a normal human being. I'm still mentally transitioning from doing overnights full-time to doing regular afternoon shifts, and that's been fantastic, just having a normal sleep schedule. But I guess working overnights leaves mental scars on you because I'm still struggling to sleep through the night like a normal human being. I'm almost there. It's very, very close. I can feel it, and I'm letting God heal me, but it's going to take time. But I'm back now, and I'm glad to be back leading worship full-time, and I'm so glad to be back doing this podcast with you all. And let me talk to you about what it means to be a small church musician. I'm a volunteer worship leader. I don't get paid to lead worship as much as I'd love to, and that's my dream in my ministry career is to get up there and sing for Christ and get paid to do it. That'd be amazing. But right now, I'm in a state of ministry, what is commonly known as tent maker ministry. If you haven't heard that term before, it's a reference to the example that Paul makes in the book of Acts, where he constructs tents to support himself in his ministry of witnessing for Jesus. Tent makers are Christians who work secular jobs to support themselves while conducting their ministry work. I really would love to get paid to do this job, but right now that's just not in the cards. That's not what God has planned for me right now. I believe that one day that's going to happen, but right now that's not where I'm at. And there's nothing wrong with having to work a full-time job to provide for yourself while living out your calling for Christ. That's really what makes the small church musician who I am. I don't get paid to buy the gear that I do. I do that out of my wages. And you know what? I'm glad to do it because you get to earn the things that you have. And Christ provides for you. And you trust in what God will do for you. But during this busy season, I felt so incredibly worn out. I just had to stop and just focus on leading worship, playing the guitar, and focusing on my job and trying to sleep like a normal human being. So that ultimately led to me putting a pause on the podcast, but don't worry, we're back. So now I'm starting to think of this as a season premiere for the podcast. Let's call this season 2, episode 1, for lack of a better term. And boy, have we got some stuff to talk about. Let's talk about the new upload schedule. Here's how things are going to work. Because my days off have largely changed from where we were doing Tuesday, Wednesday afternoons to upload the show. Now we have a consistency that I'm off 99% of the time on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So I'm going to be aiming to put new episodes out on Thursday afternoons between 4 and 5 p.m. Eastern time. But here's the big change. I want to get higher quality episodes out. I want to make them more detailed. I want to make them longer so you have more to listen to. So I'm going to be cutting the episodes down to 2 per month every other Thursday moving forward. That gives us here at Small Church Musician more time to edit the podcast and make them the best they can be, get them up to YouTube and make the YouTube video version a lot better. I'm not doing any like face cam or anything like that, but I want to make sure the video version of the show is really high quality. So I'm really trying to focus on making them the best I can. And to do that, it's going to mean a reduction in the number of podcasts, but I think the overall quality will be better. I'm also going to be periodically posting new episodes of songs on my radar. That's not stopping either. I really love doing that series, and I think it's a great part of what makes this podcast what it is. And God uses it to allow me to come to a deeper understanding of the songs that we use for worship, and I get to share my recommendations on what songs I think are really good right now. Here's the thing. I'm not going to be posting every single week. They're going to come out on Sunday afternoons between 2 and 5 p.m., but they're just going to be whenever I feel like I have a whole lot I want to talk about. So to recap, the main podcast, Small Church Musician, is cutting down to 2 episodes a month, every other Thursday between 4 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and then Songs on My Radar will periodically be posted on Sunday afternoons as normal between 2 and 5 p.m., but that's not going to be an every single week thing. Just look out for them because they'll pop up, and I'll make a big deal when they do. The other bit of news I want to talk about with you all is about my guitar rig. I got my first multi-effects unit. I've made a huge changeover from what I was doing to just doing a full-blown multi-effects unit, and it's made life so much easier. I had a revelation during my time off. For the ministry of my church, our worship services are a combination of both a studio production and a live performances, whereas I've just been looking at them as just a live performance. But for me, in a studio session, you want to have consistency, you want to have everything be clear and articulate and defined, and you don't want to have something happen in the car, say your sound gets bumped when one of your knobs gets tweaked or something like that happens, and you have to sit there and edit again in the room while your team's trying to do rehearsal and sound check and trying to practice. It's not good. It's incredibly frustrating, and it made me feel like I was wasting my team's time because my settings would get bumped and it just wouldn't sound good. So I said, fine, enough's enough, and I went and unloaded a whole bunch of gear, not my main pedal board. I still have that with the Dream 65 and all that, but I did unload a bunch of pedals and effects I wasn't using, and I traded it in. I got an even swap on a Line 6 Pod Go, and oh my gosh, this thing is incredible. I love it so much. I have so many things to say about it, and I'm planning on doing a full episode about the Line 6 Pod Go. But let me tell you, this is actually the most incredible piece of musical equipment that isn't a guitar I have ever owned. It does have a learning curve, and I'm still learning it, but as I learn more and more about it, I'm really seeing just how much it has to offer and what it can do for a worship leader, and especially for a smaller church-based worship leader. The best part? All of my settings are digital. So if something happens or a knob gets bumped, it doesn't matter because it will revert to my original settings that I have pre-saved into the thing. I can create individual songs in there and just save them, and they sound good. I love having a complete rig in one place that weighs about as much as a laptop, so it's a lot less for me to carry, but it has an amp, it has pedals, it has delay, it has reverb, it has everything I could ever want in one place. And can we just talk about the amps for a second? Line 6 has some of my favorite Dream amplifiers all in one place. It has a matchless, multiple matchless in fact. It has Vox, both AC15 and AC30. That's my favorite amp to use in the thing. They sound amazing. A Fender Twin, a Fender Princeton, orange amplifiers, and those are just a few. It has so many options, and it's so much fun to tweak and sit there and just be like, okay, what amp do I want to try? Let's try this one. See how does this sound? Ooh, that one sounds really, really good. I'm going to use that one. This thing has been a game changer for me, and I love using it. So if you're looking into getting into a digital pedal board and don't know where to start, this is definitely something worth considering. As I said, I plan on doing a full demo and discussion on the Pod Go, but that'll be for an upcoming episode because I need more time with this. I want to get it right, and I want to get as many details as I can to you so you know exactly what you're getting into. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. But just so you all know, a lot of, if not all of my guitar demos moving forward are going to largely be done through my presets on the Pod Go, and I'll explain how that all works when the time comes. But don't worry again. I didn't get rid of my main pedal board. I'm so proud of that, and it sounds great. But for now, and the ministry that I'm doing, I'm very happy with the consistency that my Pod Go gives me. And so, everybody, that brings us to the end of another episode of the Small Church Musicians Podcast. I can't tell you how glad I am to be back. I really needed the break, but I'm so glad to be back with you all, and I can't wait to share all the new episodes I have in store for you all. If you're looking forward to this stuff, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and don't forget to share the podcast, and follow us on social media. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you like, share, and subscribe there as well. My prayer is that this show would one day become a resource to all worship leaders, but especially to my fellow small church-based worship leaders and tent makers. You know, sometimes the road that we walk as small church musicians can be long and difficult, but you need to know you're not alone. God has called each and every one of us to the roles that we serve in, so please know that you have friends, you have resources, and there's always a way forward. Once again, friends, I've been Justin, and welcome back to the Small Church Musicians Podcast. See you next time. Have a great week.